From elsewhere, in Halle, Lee, the world #1 Yannick Sinner, is into the final after beating Zheng Jijian of China. He'll play Hubert Hurkacz, who beat Alex Zverev. And the news from Berlin, where there's been a lot of rain, and they've had to play some of the quarterfinals and semi-finals on the same day. Arina Sabalenka pulled out with a shoulder problem when 5-1 down to Anna Kalinskaya in the quarterfinal in Berlin. And Ons Jabeur also decided to retire with illness in her case, having lost the first set of her quarterfinal to Coco Gauff on a tiebreak.
That is a worry, isn't it, Russell, with Wimbledon so close now?
Well, it is, but I would also say that it's very, very dangerous to read too much into a player withdrawal 9 days before a Grand Slam, because they often take decisions that are very, very precautionary. They don't want to make something worse. And I would say also, and I'm not in Berlin, I don't know the circumstances, but if a player knows they're going to have to play 2 matches in a day potentially, and they might have a slight concern, as Sabalenka obviously does with a shoulder injury, perhaps that would increase the chances that they do pull out.
Okay, we'll wait and see. Russell, thank you very much. Russell Fuller with us then as the tennis continues and we build up towards the Wimbledon Championships. Mentioned Sebastian Korda, who's playing right now in that semi-final. Well, his sister, the world #1 golfer, Nelly Korda, has missed the cut at the Women's PGA Championship. There is a 2-way tie at the top of the leaderboard. Korda, though, carded an 81, the highest score of her professional career, to finish at 6 over par. It is Amy Yang and Sarah Schmalzer who's leading on 6 under. Schmalzer's ranked 73 in the world.
Kind of caught a glimpse of the leaderboard on 17 and saw that I was right around the lead, so it was just nice to kind of be able to finish that well too, knowing that I was around the lead in a major. So just going to continue to be confident in the fact that I can make birdies and make good pars and everything out here and just try and keep rolling.
Well, joining us on Sports World is the golf broadcaster Sophie Walker. And Sophie, we have to start with Nelly Korda, winner of 6 titles this season, starting her second round, only 1 shot off the lead. What?
Well, she's now missed 3 cuts in a row. So like you were saying, at the beginning of the year, we were talking about how many she was winning, and now we're talking about how many cuts she's missing. She looked visibly distressed out there. In fact, there were reports that she was crying during the round of golf, and then after, in her press conference, she did actually cry. I mean, this is her worst round as a professional golfer. Her putting was brilliant the first day, and it was just awful yesterday. She started with 4 bogeys, and it was just a slow bleed for 18 holes.
It's remarkable, isn't it? As you say, a very emotional reaction to it. She said she had no words for the way she was playing. She hit 80 at the US Open a couple of weeks ago. Is this an indicator then of just where her game is right now and how she is struggling?
Well, this is the highest round in the major championship, the reigning world #1 since the standing started, which just shows the significance of this 81. I thought if she got through the first round, then things would be looking up, because it was that first round at the US Open, wasn't it? It was that 10, and psychologically you'll be thinking, right, just get through the first round. But then this second round, I mean, as a fan, I can honestly say I did not see this coming, but it just shows golf can be fickle, can't it? One day you're at the top of the game, and the next, I mean, she fell 72 spots to miss the cut by 1, which is just heartbreaking.
So really tough for Nelly Korda then. But what about the top of the leaderboard? Tell us about the players that have performed really well, because we've got this 2-way tie at the top now.
We have. We've got Sarah Schmalzer, who's never won on the LPGA Tour, and we've got Amy Yang, who's a veteran on the LPGA Tour. She actually won the CME Tour Championship last year, which was the biggest prize fund in women's golf of $2 million. So there's those two, but for me, I think you talk about the ones that come next. You've got Lexi Thompson and Jin Young Ko, and they're the big threat. They're 2 shots behind at -4.
Yeah, so lots of threats, potentially then a fairy tale story for Lexi Thompson. Final year on tour, won her only major 10 years ago, but in contention again.
Isn't it just typical? When you say you're going to quit, then you lose in a playoff. Last week she was on the LPGA Tour. She lost in a playoff to Lilia Vu. This week she's back up there at a major championship. She's got a new stroke old caddy on the bag. She's got rid of her brother. This would be incredible. Obviously, we talk about a new perspective. She feels a lot lighter. Lexi's not bad in this position. It's when she gets in contention on the back 9 of a major, and that's what we've seen. We've seen her throw away major championships. You mentioned that she'd won 1 I can think of 4 that she's thrown away because she's severely faltered on that back 9. But she's box office. If she is there on Sunday, which I believe she will be, all eyes will be on Lexi.
And a final thought, Sophie, on this Saturday, third round, always a big one as well for those players, as you say, looking to get themselves into contention, and for those at the top.
Yeah, I think we can look at our own Charlie Hall and Leona Maguire to possibly move up this leaderboard. A lot of the players are saying it reminds them of Europe. It's a tree-like golf course. The greens are firm, but it's not a shoot. This is a very, very difficult golf course. It's all about precision and keeping it in play, but it's an absolute stacked and tight leaderboard, so it's time for somebody to pull away.
Sophie, thank you. Sophie Walker with us then ahead of the third round of the Women's PGA Championship, the latest women's golf major of the year. Elsewhere, Lando Norris has qualified on pole position for Sunday's Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona. The McLaren driver edging the world champion second. Mercedes' George Russell will be third on the grid. Julian, South Africa have beaten Wales 41-13 in their first match since winning the World Cup. Meanwhile, England beat Japan 52-17 in their test match in Tokyo. Steve Borthwick's side ran in 8 tries.
So really pleased with the results. I thought that the application of the players was really excellent. Clearly late in the game, our cohesion broke up a little against a very fast and skillful Japanese team who took the chances at the end of the game really well.
So victory there for England, while the Edmonton Oilers have taken the Stanley Cup final to a deciding Game 7 after beating Florida Panthers 5-1 to level the series. Oilers had been 3-0 down, aiming to become the first team since 1942 to win the trophy after losing the first 3 matches of the series. Here is
at the end of the day,
Well, we can't hear from him, unfortunately. But the Edmonton Oilers then have taken that Stanley Cup final to a deciding Game 7 after that 5-1 victory over the Florida Panthers. So much more to come then as we build up to our live commentary game. It is Turkey against Portugal. Our live commentary in around 30 minutes' time from Dortmund as the action at the European Championship in Germany continues. We're also talking Copa America as well as Argentina get the defence of their campaign underway with a win.
BBC News with Danielle Yorvetska. Israel says it hit 2 Hamas targets in Gaza City, with reports saying a senior militant commander was killed. Hamas says more than 30 civilians died in the strikes and that a residential block was hit several times. Israeli forces have carried out a drone attack deep inside Lebanese territory. It targeted a man accused of supplying Hamas with weapons. On Friday, the UN Secretary-General warned against escalating tension in the region. The Iranian Supreme Court has overturned the death sentence of the rapper Tumaj Salehi and ordered a retrial. He was convicted for supporting the anti-government protests of 2022. Paris is transferring the pro-independence leader in New Caledonia to a prison in France. Prosecutors say Christian Théin is being investigated for being complicit in murder during deadly riots in May. Ukraine says 3 people have been killed in Russian airstrikes on a residential area in Kharkiv. Local officials say only civilian targets were hit. Firefighters on the southwestern island of Hydra was caused by fireworks from a yacht. The local mayor said he may take the fire has been contained. Egypt says it'll put the directors of 16 travel agencies on trial for organising illegal Hajj pilgrimages. More than 600 people died on such tours this year because of lacking protection against extreme heat. The German economy minister's meeting with the Chinese president. Earlier during his visit, the minister defended EU tariffs on imports, a policy criticised by Beijing. There's been a report of the large contingent of Ethiopian soldiers entering Somalia. They're said to have been pursuing al-Shabaab militants, but withdrew after being told they needed government approval to proceed. Health facilities in Bangladesh have been ordered to stock up on antivenom. The move follows reports of a surge in snake bites. BBC World News. On radio, online. This is Sports World on the
Welcome back to World Live commentary from the Euros coming up very soon. Turkey against Portugal, the latest match. We will be there in Dortmund, that live game, in just under half an hour's time. We'll build up to. We'll also be talking Let's head to the Caribbean for the